Hi everyone, my name is Bradley Sinden and I just won the silver medal at the European Championships in Sofia. It was a good competition, like it was ran really well with the COVID regulations and everything to keep all the athletes safe, and it's great to get back out there, especially at major championships. Obviously, I'm always aiming for gold, but sometimes you learn the most when you take on losses. So I'd rather take the loss before the Olympics so I can go back into training and learn from the mistakes I made and then implement them into the Olympics. But on a whole, there's been things I've been working on in training, what I saw come out in the competition, and I felt that I have improved in training. And then it's good to see against different opponents how they've that panned out. Yeah, so it's been a weird situation, hasn't it, for everyone? It's not been the best situation for everyone. And for us, so in 2020, we end up going into lockdown in March. So we couldn't train at the National Centre for 9 weeks. So in the first 4 weeks, I went home to where I live in Doncaster. And I'm lucky because Mason Yarrow, who's also on the team, lives in Doncaster as well. So I had a training partner. We managed to train together, a local gym just for us two. So we managed to still be able to train with a partner, get that realistic training. Then Mason got injured in week 5. So after that, I moved up to Scotland for the last 4 weeks of lockdown and moved in with Rebecca and her family. And then I trained with her. So for the 9 weeks, I was in a good position for a bad situation, in the sense of I actually got that realistic situation where some people maybe just had a bob to kick, or some people didn't have pads at all and they didn't really get to much training. So I really got had a benefit of having partners there in a bad situation. Then as soon as we could go back together with elite sports in GB, we got straight back into the gym, and then we've done really well to follow all the COVID procedures, make sure everyone's safe and protected, and still manage to get the training we could get the best and push ourselves. So we wasn't really losing any time. Like with us, we can progress really far in a short period of time, but having an extra year from what the Olympics should have been, we can improve even more upon that. So we decided to we set a plan, and then we managed to get on training camps. So that was hard, trying to find different countries we could get to, or if countries could get here. But we managed to get to Croatia, we managed to get to Turkey and France, and that was in, so I think that was like August, September time. So we managed to actually get out there, and for having, when we normally fight 12 times a year, to having nothing and not even going on any training camps until then, it was great to get back out there and get that little glimpse of fighting again. And so seeing what you've done in training, seeing where you're at against people and seeing where people are at against you. Then we managed to get 2 competitions at the back end of the year. So I managed to win both gold at both of them. So that's another thing, more people from different countries, more fighting, more opportunities to try things. And the same with Sofia a few weeks ago, that was just getting out there, trying different things. And then coming on to the Europeans, the same again. For us, the still main goal has always been the Olympics for this end cycle. So after the Worlds, it was on the Olympics. So it would have been great to win the Europeans, but like I said, you can learn a lot of information from losing. So you can't just take it as a negative. You have to think about what the feedback I can take from that, review my fight, see what I could improve on, what I didn't do so well, what I did good, what worked well. And then these next 12, 13 weeks before the Olympics, crack down on what I need to improve to make sure I come out on gold there. So I had 5 fights. So my first fight was against an unranked player. So I think a young player, only 17, so not that experienced. So that fight went quite smooth, but it wasn't really challenging. So could take it as a bit as a warm up. But the guy, to be fair to the guy, he didn't stop, even though when he was getting caught, he kept coming. He was brave. So that's what you like to see in seeing athletes for progressing on in the future. Second fight, it was against Denmark, who is quite a tall opponent. So that was a tricky fight to find the right balance of what I needed to do, and then work on different things. But yeah, so I think it was from that fight, parts of really good, parts of brilliance. So stuff I have been working on. and then being able to make sure I don't rush onto shots. But then there were bits in that fight where I switched off a bit and got caught. So that's parts working on that. Then fight 3 and 4, so my quarters and semi-finals ran quite smoothly. So I think different, especially this competition, punches were scoring quite easily, and body shots in the clinch wasn't. So I think being able to, like, being a tactical fighter, you have to adjust to that situation. So we realized I don't punch that much, but we thought punch can be a good option. So especially to cancel out people. So semi-finals against Greece, he has got a good punch. So we thought punching against him could cancel that out. So that's what we decided to do. So fighting tactical situations, even though if some parts of my game couldn't come out due to different things, maybe due to like the system not being as sensitive maybe for some reason. Then the final, the Russia did a nice crescent straight away, so I went 3 points down. Then he did a good back kick again, so went to 7 points down. Then it became just more of a chasing fight all the way through. I were always trying to break him down to find them shots. Then some parts just didn't get the reward. A few headshots didn't score and stuff like that. But like I said, there were parts that even straight away conceding them 2 shots, what probably could have been avoided. I'll probably avoid them next time. And like I said, go back and think on how I could avoid them next time, and then the fight could go a different way. So I think now it's become normal life. We've been in lockdown for over a year now. So for this one and the ones last time, so we have to get a test before we. So for me personally, we have to get a test before we leave England to go. So to go to Bulgaria. Then as soon as we land, and no, as soon as we get to the hotel, before we're allowed into the main part of the hotel, we had to get another lateral flow test, make sure we test negative there. And then even though we all test negative, it's still taking them extra steps of precaution just in case. So making sure you wear a mask when you go everywhere, apart from training and fighting. So walking about, make sure you wear a mask, just keep washing your hands. I think everyone's just taking that extra step of cautiousness, but especially coming up to the Olympics, you don't want to have to be in contact with someone, and even if it's not COVID, you don't want to catch any illness and miss any days what can be valuable coming up to that. So you could tell through all the athletes we're being very sensible and making sure we do our best to fight the virus. So I think the lighter weights have always been, so especially 58s and 49s have always been, because we are a weight making sport, it is easier to make them weights when you are younger. So there are fresh people coming on the scene, especially so 54, the Hungarian, really good, like comfortably beat all his fighters. Syrian 58s fought really well on the day as well, and he's only young. Same with the 49 Spanish girl, all young athletes, and especially these younger weights. But even people of my age, we're still young. So me, Maxim, there's a very, it's the way the style of taekwondo has changed. I think of people nowadays so the style changed a couple of years ago, where the people at that time had to adapt to it straight away, where the younger generation, it started getting put into their club training. So they started training, growing up with that style of training. So it became easier when they do implement it. So the older generation can be harder to adapt, but doesn't mean they can. So for me, the next thing is we're going to hope to get quite a few partners over. So different partners from different countries, and then training camps as well. So just a lot of people to give. So I have a lot of different people to fight, different people to train with, because sometimes when you train with just the same person, you go out there and someone doesn't fight like that. So you have to be able to adjust. And then when you're getting in training, getting them different types of fighters constantly, it helps you improve quite a lot. So a lot of training camps are going to be coming up towards the Olympics. And then hopefully, I think we're going to do Austria as well. So one more competition to go out there, and from now until Austria, work on the things what I've took from feedbacks from the comps previously back into the last year, and the Europeans, the feedback will take back from that, and try and implement them into Austria, see how that goes, and then see exactly what I need to improve coming up to the Olympics.